There's a man in California who spends $100,000 a year trying not to die. I want you to picture him for a moment. Cold marble floors under bare feet at 5 in the morning. A row of pills counted out and waiting. Machines that map his blood, his sleep, the rhythm of his heart. He measures the age of his organs the way you, and I might check the weather. His liver, his skin, his brain, all of it scored and tracked, pulled backward toward youth one careful day at a time. And by most numbers, it was working. His body, they said, was aging slower than the calendar. A marvel, a headline, a promise sold to the rest of us, that with enough money, enough discipline, enough cold plunges and supplements and data, a person could finally hold the years at bay. Then something happened that no spreadsheet predicted. He took a single trip, a few days, travel, disruption, the small, ordinary chaos of being somewhere unfamiliar. And when the machines read him again, the numbers had moved, not by months, by years. One report put it bluntly. That brief stretch of days had aged him 13 years. Everything he'd spent a fortune to hold back, undone by something so common, so human, that you've probably felt it yourself this very morning and never once thought to name it. 13 years of biological age, gone, not from poison or injury, but from something invisible, something he couldn't buy his way out of. And here is the question that has been turning over in my mind ever since I read it. The question I think the headline was too dazzled to ask. What if all that money, the $100,000 a year, the machines, the careful pills, is buying the wrong thing entirely? Because somewhere, right now, there's a 94-year-old man who has never spent $1 on any of this, who sleeps fine, whose hands are steady. The same world that aged a billionaire in a single weekend has been working on this man for nearly a century, and somehow it has barely left a mark. That gap is what I keep coming back to. Why one breaks where the other holds. So let's look at it closely. There's a particular kind of advertisement that runs late at night, when the house has gone quiet and the only light is the cold blue of the screen on your face. You've seen it. A man, maybe your age, walking along a beach at sunrise. His skin has that impossible glow. His joints don't ache. He smiles at the camera with the ease of someone who has never once lain awake at 3 in the morning. And then the number appears on the screen, and the voice, smooth, certain, almost tender, tells you that this could be you, for a price. Notice what happens in your chest when you see it. There's a small tightening, isn't there? A quiet voice underneath the noise that whispers, maybe I've let myself go. Maybe the aches in the morning, the name that took a second too long to surface, the face in the mirror that started to look like your father's. Maybe all of that is a problem I was supposed to solve and didn't. I want you to sit with that feeling for a moment, because that feeling is not an accident. That feeling was engineered. There is an industry, and I choose that word carefully, an industry that has done the math on you. They've studied the exact age when a person starts to feel time moving against them instead of with them. They know that somewhere around 45, 50, the body begins sending its first honest signals. And they have built an entire economy on top of your reaction to those signals, not on solving anything. They built it on the reaction itself, on the fear that follows. Walk into one of their clinics sometime. The lighting is soft and expensive. The chairs are leather, cool against your back. There's the faint smell of eucalyptus pumped through the vents, and somewhere a fountain trickles, because nothing says you are broken quite like the sound of artificial peace. They'll hand you a tablet, still warm from the last set of hands. They'll ask about your sleep, your energy, your memory, your desire. And with every question, the floor tilts a little more beneath you, until you're certain that the man who walked in wasn't aging gracefully at all. He had been quietly falling apart for years and simply hadn't known it. And then comes the salvation. The peptides, the infusions, the full body scan that finds the thing you didn't know to be afraid of. The $100,000 protocol, sold to you not as vanity, but as responsibility, to your family, to your future, to the years you supposedly still owe the world. Here is what they will never tell you, because their entire business depends on you not knowing it. The premise is a lie. The premise that aging is a malfunction, that the body keeping time is a defect to be corrected with money. They have taken something as old and natural as the turning of the seasons, the way a tree thickens at its core, the way a river slows and deepens as it nears the sea, and they have rebranded it as a failure. Your failure, one you can only redeem by paying. And it works. It works because they aren't really selling you youth. They're charging you again and again for relief from a fear they spent decades teaching you to feel. They unsettle you first, and then they arrive with the cure. And every time you reach for your wallet, you confirm the story they need you to believe, that the answer is out there in their hands behind that price tag and never, ever in you. I've watched good people, sharp, accomplished, decent people, hand over their savings to that machine and walk out feeling not stronger, but smaller. Because deep down they sensed the trade they'd made. They'd agreed with their money that they were not enough, that the wisdom in their hands, the patience earned across 50 hard years, the steadiness that no 25-year-old could fake, none of that counted. The only thing that counted was the deficit, the gap they could be sold away to close. And maybe you felt the pull of it yourself, lying awake, doing the arithmetic of how many summers you might have left. That hum of anxiety in the chest, low and constant, like a refrigerator running in another room. They are counting on that hum. They have a business plan written around it. So before we go one step further, I need you to understand something, and I need you to feel it before you believe it. The most valuable thing about you is never for sale. It was never in their scans or their vials. It has been living in the warm dark behind your own ribs the entire time. The slow drum of heart that has kept its rhythm through every fear you ever had. And the only reason you stopped hearing it is that the world got very, very loud and very good at making sure you couldn't. Picture the old graves out past any town you've lived in. The leaning stones, the names worn soft by rain, the grass grown long and bowing in the wind. Every one of those people was sold the same fear you're being sold tonight, and not one of them took a vial in the ground. First, you have to see the whole machine for what it is. There's a building in Palo Alto where the lobby is all eucalyptus and cold marble and a silence that costs something. The floors are heated. The light is engineered to mimic a sunrise that never quite arrives. And inside, men your age, maybe a little younger, lie back on tables while machines map the inside of their bodies the way satellites map the ocean floor. They call it longevity medicine. The entry fee is $100,000 a year. That's not the treatment. That's the door. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Not the number. We've all heard big numbers until they stop meaning anything. I want you to sit with the smell of that lobby, the way the receptionist knows your name before you've said it, the quiet certainty in those rooms that says, "We have figured out how to buy more time, and you, if you can afford it, may purchase some too." Now I want you to think about your own kitchen, the refrigerator that's been making that same low sound for 9 years, the light that flickers a little when the AC kicks on, the pile of bills you've learned to open standing up because something about sitting down with them makes them heavier. That's the room most of us live in. And there's a feeling that creeps in late when the house is quiet, something tightening under the ribs, not quite fear, not quite anger. It's the feeling of watching a train pull away from a station you didn't know you were standing in. Because here is the brutal part, the part nobody says out loud at the dinner table. Health used to be something you simply had or lost. Now it's becoming something you buy. Longevity has a price tag, and the tag was written for somebody else. The data backs the feeling. The wealthiest Americans now outlive the poorest by more than a decade. 10, 15 years of life, sorted by zip code and bank balance. A decade. That's grandchildren you do or don't meet. That's the difference between dying in your sleep at 90 and dying tired at 74. And that gap isn't shrinking. It's widening every single year, like a crack running up a wall you can't afford to fix. So if you're 45, 55, 65, and you feel like the future of being healthy got cordoned off behind a velvet rope, you're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You read the room correctly. The most fundamental thing a human being can want, more good years with the people they love, has quietly been turned into a luxury good. And luxury goods are designed, by definition, to make most people feel they're on the outside looking in. I know that feeling, the weight of left behind. You worked, you raised people, you paid into things, and somewhere along the way the rules changed, and now the people with the eucalyptus lobbies are buying the one thing you assumed was free, time in a body that still works. That ache in your chest right now, the tightening, the bracing, the quickened breath, that's not something gone wrong in you. That's a body reading danger and answering. Because that's what this is. Some old part of you can't tell the difference between a predator at the cave mouth and a system that's quietly priced you out of your own longevity. Sleep doesn't touch. You felt it. You wake at 6 after 8 hours in bed, and still your bones feel like they were carried somewhere in the night and dropped. You stand at the kitchen counter, waiting for the coffee, and your shoulders are already up around your ears. The day hasn't even started, and you're already behind it. Notice the room for a second. The gray light coming through the blinds. The phone face down on the table, humming every few minutes like an insect you can't quite kill. The low pressure behind your eyes that's been there so long you've stopped calling it anything. You just call it Tuesday. You call it life. But your body has a different name for it. Here's something worth sitting with. Two people, same birthday, same year on a calendar. One of them is aging at the speed the calendar promised. The other is aging faster. Years faster. And the difference isn't in their genes. It isn't the food, not entirely, not the wine, not the gym membership. The difference is the state they live in. The hum, the constant, low-grade bracing for the next thing. Think about what that means for a moment. Let land slow. It means the calendar on your wall has been lying to you. Age isn't a number counting up from the day you were born. Age is a rate, a speed, and the thing setting that speed, the foot on the gas, isn't time at all. It's the way you've been holding your nervous system hour after hour for 30 years. Clenched, watchful, braced against something that hasn't come yet. We were never built to live like this. The body that's carrying you was designed for a different world, a world where the threat came, and then it left. The lion appeared at the edge of the grass. Your heart pounded, you ran or you froze, and then it was over. The sun set, the fire crackled, your shoulders came down, and the chemistry that flooded your blood drained back out. But the lion never leaves anymore. It's in the phone humming on the table, in the headline you scrolled past at breakfast, in the email you haven't answered, and the number in the bank account, and the grave voice on the news in the next room. The threat comes in and never goes back out. You walk around all day half-drowned in your own alarm chemistry, and your body, faithful and obedient, does exactly what you ask of it. It prepares for the lion. It ages for the lion. It burns itself down a little faster every single day for a threat that is never going to arrive and never going to end. This all sitting in the back of my throat since we started this. Maybe you feel it too. A small, stubborn weight, like a stone you can't quite swallow. Here it is. If the most monitored man alive, a man with a team of 30 doctors, a man who measures the inflammation in his own blood at 3 in the morning, a man burning $2 million a year to claw back his own youth. If that man is still aging, still tired, still chasing something that keeps retreating from him no matter how fast he runs, then how? How does a 94-year-old man in a quiet town somewhere, a man who has never heard the word biomarker, who eats butter without guilt and sleeps on the same mattress he's had for 40 years, how does he wake up laughing? How does he bend down to lace his own boots, walk out into the cold morning air, breath fogging in front of him, and feel alive in a way the billionaire cannot buy? Sit with that for a moment, because it doesn't make sense. Not by the rules we've been handed. We've been taught that health is purchased, that longevity is a product on a high shelf, and the higher you can reach, the more you spend, the more you track, the more you optimize, the closer you get to it. We've been taught that the body is a machine, and that the man with the most expensive mechanics wins. But the old man never read the manual. He never bought the parts, and somehow his engine still runs warm. I want you to really feel the strangeness of this. Picture the two of them in the same room. The cold, white light of a clinic on one side, the hum of machines, the antiseptic sting in the nostrils, a man lying perfectly still while numbers scroll across a screen, his jaw tight, even in rest. And on the other side, a kitchen, steam rising off a kettle, the smell of coffee in old wood, a radio playing something from 1962, and a man with liver-spotted hands, humming, completely at ease in his own skin. One of them is afraid. You can feel it, can't you? The fear underneath all that money, the clenched, desperate energy of a man running from something. And the other one isn't running at all. He's just here, present, settled, at home in his own body the way you're at home in a chair you've sat in for decades. That difference is not medical. Let me say that again because it cuts against everything we've been sold. The difference between those two men is not in their blood panels. It's not in their supplements or their sleep trackers or their oxygen chambers. The difference is in something older. Something that lives below the numbers, below the protocols, below all the bright promises money can buy. And here is the part one, keep turning over in the dark. That something, whatever it is the old man has and the billionaire has lost, is not for sale. It cannot be bought because it was never a product. It's something that was already inside you the day you were born. A slow, steady way of breathing when a room goes quiet. A way of being in your own body, of meeting the world that your great-grandparents understood without ever needing a name for it. And somewhere along the way, in the noise, in the news, in the endless scroll, in the low, constant hum of a world built to keep you anxious and reaching, you forgot. Not because you're weak, not because you failed, but because the modern world spent a great deal of effort teaching you to forget, to distrust your own instincts, to believe the answer was always outside you, always for sale, always just out of reach. The billionaire forgot it too. That's the cruel joke. All that money, and he's still searching for the one thing the old man does for free every single morning before his feet even touch the floor. So there's a real answer here. Not a feeling, not a fantasy, a mechanism. Something happening in the body, in the heart, in the quiet electrical rhythm of a calm nervous system that the science is only now beginning to catch up to. And when you see it, when you finally understand what the old man is actually doing in there, it settles into you and stays. It contradicts everything the clinics sell. Everything. And once you know it, the searching loosens its grip, that reaching, anxious hand finally lowers. Village in the south of India, where the morning smell of wood smoke and wet earth, and in one of its small houses, a man named Govindap awakes before the sun. He is 94 years old. His hands, when he folds them around a clay cup of warm water, do not tremble. His eyes are clear. When he speaks, he remembers the names of men who died 40 years ago, the price of rice in the year his first son was born, the exact slope of the path his father walked to the fields. He has never heard the word biohacking. He could not tell you what a mitochondrion is. He has never swallowed a supplement, never sat inside a chamber of cold or heat, never paid a single rupee to extend his life. And yet here he is, lucid and upright in his 10th decade, while men a third his age, men with every advantage money can buy, lie awake at 3 in the morning watching their own thoughts unravel. Watch him through the morning. He rises with the light, not because a device told him to, but because his body and the sun have kept the same appointment for 94 years. He drinks his water slow. He walks, not for steps counted on a wrist, but to somewhere, to someone, to the temple, to the home of a grandchild, to the field where men still bend their backs and call him by name. His movement has a destination, and so it has a meaning, and a body that moves with meaning does not break down the way a body on a treadmill to nowhere does. He eats what grew nearby in the season it grew. He eats with people. The meal is never a fuel stop swallowed alone over a screen. It is a circle of voices, of laughter, of arguments about nothing, of silence shared without fear. And here is what you can see in the slow ease of his shoulders, in the way his breath sits low and unhurried. The body of a man who eats among people he loves carries itself differently than the body of a man who eats afraid. One is settled, one is bracing. Notice what is absent from his life. There is no low hum of dread behind his ribs. He is not checking, refreshing, comparing. He does not lie down at night with the day's 100 small humiliations replaying in the dark. The cortisol that floods the modern chest like cold water never had a place to live in him. His body has spent 94 years in a state most of us have not felt for 94 hours straight, a state of belonging. This is the thing we keep walking past. It was never the chamber or the panel. It was the absence of a constant grinding alarm. His system was allowed to do the one thing yours was built to do and has forgotten how to rest in safety, to settle into a rhythm, to trust that tomorrow the sun and the rice and the faces will all return. And here is where the story we have been sold begins to crack. The story says longevity is purchased, that the long, sharp life belongs to those who can afford the lab, the panel, the protocol. That if your mind is going soft at 60, it is because you did not spend enough. There is a cruelty buried in that story, because it tells the ordinary man his decline is his own fault. that he simply failed to invest. But Govindappa stands against it without arguing, just by waking clear-eyed in his hut while the cruelty collects its fees somewhere far away. I want you to feel the weight of this because it cuts both ways. It would be easy to hear this and feel cheated, to think the good life requires a village you do not have, a slowness the world will not give you. But that is not the lesson. The lesson is gentler and harder than that. Govindappa is not lucky. He is tuned. His long life is not an accident of geography. It is the natural result of a nervous system left in coherence for the better part of a century. The body knows how to keep itself sharp. It was doing it long before there was a word for it. What the wealthy are paying $100,000 to chase, this man received for free because nobody ever taught him to be afraid of his own life. So the question is not whether you can afford what he had. The question is whether you can remember what your own body already knows, and whether the world that distracted you from it can be quieted, even a little, even now. Hold on to Govindappa. We are not finished with him, because what he did without trying, you can learn to do on purpose. And when you feel that grinding alarm in your own chest go quiet for the first time, you will understand exactly what he has been telling you all along. There's a man in a village in Sardinia who turned 94 last spring. I want you to see him the way I saw him in the footage. Not as a statistic, not as some longevity poster on a wellness clinic wall, but as a man with dirt under his fingernails and wine on his breath at 11 in the morning. His name doesn't matter as much as his hands. Watch his hands. They're thick, scarred, the knuckles swollen from 70 years of pruning grapevines. And yet, when the accordion starts up in the town square, that wheezing, off-key, beautiful sound, those same hands reach out and pull a woman 50 years younger into a dance. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't worry about his hip. He moves like the music is something owed to him, and he intends to collect. Feel the heat of that square, the cobblestones holding the afternoon sun, the smell of bread and wood smoke drifting from somewhere up the hill. There is no green juice in his hand, no supplement stuck, no cold plunge waiting at home. He eats what grows near him, drinks what he makes himself, and laughs in a way that starts low in the gut and shakes the whole body loose. And here's what stopped me cold when I watched him. He should be tired. By every chart we've built, by every actuarial table, by every grim projection about what the body does after 90, he should be sitting in a chair by a window, waiting. Instead, he's spinning a stranger across cobblestones and shouting something in dialect that makes the whole square erupt. So I started looking, not at him alone, at all of them. The ones who make it that far still laughing. And a pattern began to surface, slow, like a shape coming up through dark water. It's not what they consume. We desperately want it to be what they consume, because that we can buy. We can purchase the oil, the wine, the diet, bottle it, and ship it to a suburb in Ohio. But that's not the thread. The thread is how they feel, hour to hour, the emotional weather they live inside. Watch him again. There is no urgency in his body, no low hum of dread underneath the day. He is not bracing. You and I, we spend most of our waking hours subtly braced, shoulders drawn up a quarter-inch, jaw set, a faint electrical current of worry running through the chest that we've stopped even noticing because it never turns off. We carry the news, the bills, the son who moved away and calls less every year, the ache of a world that feels like it's pulling loose at the joints. He carries none of that. Not because his life was easy. God, no. He buried a wife. He buried a son. He lived through poverty that would break most men I know. But somewhere along the way, he made a kind of peace that lets his nervous system settle into a stillness most of us haven't touched since childhood. And that's the word I kept circling back to. The emotional state a body lives in, day after day, like a note held so long it becomes the room. There's something we've understood for a long time without naming it. That what we feel sustained over years becomes what we are. The man who lives in low, simmering resentment grows brittle. The woman who lives in grief, she won't set down, grows tired in the marrow. And the old man dancing in that square, he lives in something light, something warm, a steadiness that isn't denial, but acceptance with the volume turned up toward joy. I think of the men I've met who measure everything except this. One of them could recite his heart rate variability to the decimal, the oxygen in his blood, the hours of deep sleep down to the minute. He could not tell me the last time he danced. He was optimizing the machine while the operator sat clenched in the driver's seat, never once taking his foot off the brake. And you've lived long enough to bury people, to lose work, to watch the world change in ways that frighten you. You already know this in your body. You felt the difference between a day spent clenched and a day spent open. You felt it the last time you laughed so hard you forgot yourself. Something in you let go. Something in you, for just a moment, settled into the same easy place that old man lives in all the time. That's the pattern, not the wine, not the oil, the feeling underneath it all, sustained, chosen, lived in. And the question that should be sitting heavy in your chest right now is the one I asked myself watching him dance. What note have I been holding all these years? And is it the one I actually want my body to become? Because it can change. That's the part the lab never tells you. Let me tell you something about the body you're sitting in right now. Press 2 fingers to the side of your throat. Feel that pulse, steady, patient, asking for nothing. It has beaten somewhere near 3 billion times without ever once requiring your permission. You didn't earn it. You didn't optimize it. It simply did its work in the dark while you went about the business of forgetting it was even there. That heartbeat knows things. It knew how to slow itself when you were a child and your mother's hand pressed flat against your back beneath the blankets. It knew how to flood your veins with fire the day you nearly stepped off a curb into traffic, the cold spike of it, the taste of metal at the back of your tongue. And it knew how to come down from that fire an hour later, all on its own, while you sat at the kitchen table and laughed about how close you'd come. Nobody taught you that. There was no app. There was no morning protocol. The body simply arrived knowing, and for most of human history, it ran. Here's what nobody says out loud. You were not born anxious. You were not born wired. You came into this world equipped with one of the most sophisticated self-repair systems in the known universe. A nervous system designed to swing, like a pendulum, between alarm and rest. Tension, then release. Danger, then safety. The threat appears, the body burns. The threat passes, the body cools. That rhythm is older than language. It is written into tissue. But the cooling doesn't come anymore. That's the thing the studies keep circling without naming. The phone buzzes at 2 a.m. against the nightstand, blue and insistent. The market drops while you sleep. The news arrives in a tone of permanent emergency. Your body, that ancient, faithful thing, hears every one of these as a predator in the grass. So it does what it was built to do. It floods, it burns, it holds the tension in your jaw, your shoulders, the shallow top of your breath. And then it waits for the part where the danger ends and the cooling comes. It never comes, so you live in the burn, year after year, and slowly. This is the cruelty of it. You begin to believe the burn is just who you are now. You call it your personality. You call it your age. You say, I've always been a worrier. I run hot. I don't sleep like I used to. And what you're really describing is a brilliant instrument left running at full throttle for 30 years because the world keeps telling it the danger never ends. But listen, the instrument didn't break. It's still in there. It's still listening. That's what your grandfather's generation had that you've misplaced. Not better genes, not cleaner air, not some secret they took to the grave. They had a world that occasionally let the alarm go quiet. The porch at dusk, the boards still warm under bare feet. The hands working soil until the mind went still. The walk home, when the walk home was the only thing happening. Long, undefended stretches where the body was finally allowed to do the second half of its job. The cooling, the mending, the coming down. You think you need to buy your way back to that. $100,000 of cold plunges and lab panels. And maybe some of that helps. But here's the part the salesman will never put on the brochure, because there's no money in it. The most powerful tool you own was never for sale. You've carried it the whole time. Your breath, slowed deliberately, the air cooler going in than coming out, tells the heart the danger has passed. The heart, slowing, tells the brain the same. Sit in the quiet and call up one true thing. A face, a doorway, the warmth of a particular afternoon. And you can feel the pendulum begin to swing back, the shoulders dropping a half-inch on their own. That's not magic. That's the wiring. The same wiring that makes your palms damp at a bad memory can loosen your chest at a good one. You haven't lost the ability. You just stopped using it. The way a man with a strong back forgets how to lift right after years behind a desk. The muscle is there. It's waiting. It remembers. And that's the quiet turning point I want you sitting with as we go on. Not that you need to become someone new. That you need to remember something you already are. Underneath the burn, beneath all that accumulated noise, the old rhythm is still keeping time. Patient, faithful, asking for nothing but your attention. In the next chapter, I'm going to show you exactly how a man your age, with everything you've already lived through, turns that attention back on. Because you're not a beginner here. You've done this before, every day of your life, without naming it once. The work now is only to do it on purpose. I want you to picture 3 rooms. The first is a kitchen in rural Georgia. There's a man there, 91 years old, hands wrapped around a coffee mug that's gone lukewarm. The window over the sink is fogged at the corners. He's not in a hurry. He never is. Outside, the dog barks twice and goes quiet. He smiles at nothing in particular, the way a man smiles when the morning itself is enough. The second room is in Okinawa. A woman, 96, sits on a worn cushion at a low table. The smell of miso rises from a bowl she's held 1,000 mornings. Friends will come later. They always come. She belongs to them, and they to her. And that belonging is as ordinary to her as breathing. The third room is a porch in Sardinia, the evening air carrying wood smoke and the distant clatter of someone setting a table. A shepherd, 94, watches the hills go gold. He expects tomorrow to be good. Not because he's a fool, because in his bones, expecting good is simply how he's always faced the dark coming down. 3 rooms, 3 continents, 3 people who will outlive the actuarial tables by a wide margin. And here's what's worth sitting with. When researchers went looking for what these people shared, when they stripped away the diet, the climate, the genes everyone loves to argue about, they kept finding something underneath. Something quieter, harder to measure. The longest living humans on this earth were not the most disciplined. They were not the wealthiest. They were the ones carrying a particular weather inside the chest. Gratitude, worn smooth like a stone in a pocket. A calm that didn't come from having no problems, but from having made peace with the size of them. An expectation, gentle, unforced, that the next day was worth showing up for. And that bone-deep sense of belonging to something. A village, a family, a morning ritual that said you have a place here. Now I know how that sounds to a man who's heard every promise and watched most of them rot. It sounds soft. It sounds like the kind of thing you put on a coffee mug and forget. But I want you to sit with something tonight that the world worked very hard to make you forget. That feeling in your chest, the warm one, when you're grateful, when you belong, when you're not bracing for the next blow. That's not a mood. That's a signal. And something in you is keeping count of how often you send it. You felt the opposite, haven't you? The cold flush of dread before bad news you haven't even heard yet. The way your shoulders climb toward your ears when the world feels like it's coming apart. That's a signal too. And your body has been reading that one for years now. Decades, maybe. Here's the thing nobody told you. The thing those 3 never needed telling. A sustained emotional state is not just something that happens to you. It's something happening in you. Down at the level where your heart sets a rhythm and your nervous system decides whether to repair you or defend you. Whether to build or to brace. The body grows in the soil of what you feel, most often for the longest. That's the terrain. Gratitude held long enough stops being an emotion and becomes a condition, a chemistry, a rhythm, a pattern your tissues live inside. The shepherd expecting a good tomorrow isn't dreaming. He's instructing the only system that's been listening to him his whole life. I'm not going to give you a name for this yet. The names get in the way. The researchers have one word for it. The mystics have another, and both sides will swear the other has lost its mind. Forget all of it for a moment. Just notice what these 3 did by accident, by inheritance, by the slow grace of living in a place that never severed them from the simple things. They held a feeling steady. They let it become the ground they stood on, and the ground returned the favor, year after year after impossible year. You were never told this could be deliberate. You were never told that the climate you carry inside is something a man your age, with your scars, your patience, your hard-won eye for what's real, could actually learn to set on purpose. But it can be. And what those 3 stumbled into by luck, you and I are going to walk into with our eyes open. There's a moment just before sleep when the body finally stops bracing. You feel it tonight if you're paying attention. The way the jaw lets go, the way the shoulders drop a ½ inch they've been holding all day. That release is not weakness. That release is what your nervous system has been trying to do every single hour, if only the world would stop pulling at its sleeve. I want you to notice something, and I want you to notice it slowly. Think of the oldest person you ever watched sit still. The one who could spend an afternoon on a chair by the window and come away rested. not bored. They never bought a single tool to do what the body did for free. They sat, they breathed, they watched the light move and let the heart slow down to meet it. They didn't call it anything. They had no word for it. They just did it the way you breathe without being told. And here is what the $100,000 machines are quietly circling around. The thing they keep selling back to you in pieces. Your body already knows how to settle the room it lives in. It knows how to drop the heart rate. It knows how to loosen the chest. It knows how to take a future you can only imagine and start building it in the flesh. Let me show you. Close your eyes for a moment. Not to escape, but to see. Picture one thing you want. Not a vague wish. A real scene. The morning you wake without the weight in your gut. The hand of someone you love in yours. A body that climbs the stairs without negotiating. Hold that picture and let it get warm. Let it have a smell, coffee, cut grass, rain on a sidewalk. Let it have temperature. Here's what most people never learned. Your brain does not fully separate that picture from a thing that already happened. The same circuits light. The same chemistry stirs. When you rehearse a future in detail, you are not daydreaming. You are laying track. You are telling the deep, ancient machinery of your body which direction to grow. They call it neuroplasticity now in the clinics behind the glass. Older people just called it knowing where they were headed. And while you hold that picture, breathe. Not the shallow sips you've been taking since the news this morning. A long one. In through the nose for a slow count. Out even slower, longer on the exhale than the in. Do it again. There's a rhythm hiding in your chest between the heart and the breath. And when you stretch the exhale, you reach down and steady it. The heartbeat smooths out. The body reads that smoothness as safe. Safe means the fear chemistry drains. Safe means the repair work can finally begin. This is the whole secret, and it costs nothing. The fear you've been carrying has one weakness. It cannot survive a body that has decided it is safe. It needs the shallow breath. It needs the racing chest. It needs the picture of everything going wrong. Take those away, and it has nothing left to feed on. So you reverse it. You breathe long. You hold the picture of what you actually want until the body starts to believe it. You do it for 5 minutes in the morning, before the phone, before the headlines reach in and grab you. You do it by a window, watching the light, letting the heart find its slow. On the age of 45. You may have noticed it without ever naming it. You reach for a tool you've used 10,000 times, a wrench, a pen, the handle of a coffee mug warmed by the morning, and your hand already knows the shape before your eyes confirm it. The grip arrives before the thought. That's not age slowing you down. That's something else entirely. That's a lifetime of repetition turned into instinct. That's mastery wearing the disguise of habit. And yet the world keeps whispering the opposite to you. It tells you that the sharp ones are young, that the future belongs to people who can swipe faster, learn an app overnight, recover from a sleepless night by noon. The marketing aimed at your generation carries a quiet insult folded inside it. The suggestion that you're trying to recover something, that you're behind, that you need to be fixed. I want you to sit with how wrong that is. Because everything we've been circling, the calm beneath the noise, the clarity that arrives when the chest stops bracing, the steady rhythm of a heart that isn't fighting the day, none of that is new to you. You have lived it, not read about it, lived it. There was a morning years ago, maybe decades, when you stood somewhere quiet and felt completely whole. Maybe it was a kitchen before anyone else woke. Maybe it was a road at dawn, the windshield fogged, the engine ticking as it cooled. Maybe it was holding something small and breathing, a child, a dog, your own steadying breath after bad news passed. You felt it, that low, grounded hum of being here without resistance. Your body has a memory of that state. It's filed away, intact like the grip your hand already knows. This is the advantage no one will sell you, because there's no product in it. The young have to imagine what calm feels like. You only have to remember. And remembering is 1,000 times easier than inventing. When the body has tasted a state before, the nervous system doesn't need to build a new road. It needs to clear the brush off an old one. The path is already there, beneath the years, beneath the noise, beneath the smoke of everything that distracted you from yourself. Think of how you learned anything that mattered. Not from screen, from living it until it lived in you. The smell of rain told you the weather before any forecast. A pause in someone's voice told you the truth before their words did. You learned to read rooms, to read silences, to read the small shift in a face across a table. That's pattern recognition built over a lifetime. The most expensive thing in the world to a machine, and you carry it for free. The same faculty that lets you sense a lie can sense your own inner weather. You already know when your chest is tight. You already know when your mind has run ahead of your breath. You've just been told for years that noticing such things is soft or vain or a waste of a working man's time. It isn't. It's the instrument, and yours is the most finely tuned one in the room. A man of 25 trying to steady his attention is a beginner with a new instrument, fumbling for the notes. You're a player who set the instrument down for a while because life got loud. Picking it back up isn't starting over. It's the muscle remembering. The first deep breath you take with intention won't feel foreign. It'll feel like a hand settling back onto a tool that fits it. So when I talk about the steadiness that quiets the body, that changes what you notice in a room and how the day comes back at you, understand I'm not handing you a new skill. I'm pointing at one already in your hands. The grip you forgot you had. What you carry in your chest shapes what you reach for and what reaches back. That's not a secret. It's just how a man works. You're not a student of this. You knew it once, in your bones, and the world distracted you. That's all. It filled your days with noise until you stopped hearing the quiet underneath. But moment just before you open your eyes in the morning, when you are nobody yet. The body is warm under the blankets, the room is still gray, and the mind hasn't picked up its weapons. You can hear the house, the click of the heater, a bird somewhere past the glass, the small settling sounds of a place that held you all night. That moment is yours. It belongs to no headline, no bank, no number on a screen. And the man who paid $100,000 for his protocol has the exact same moment waiting for him. No richer, no longer, no more sacred than yours. But here's what most of us do. Before our feet touch the floor, we reach for the phone. We let the noise in. The first thing the nervous system tastes in the morning is dread, bad news, unpaid bills, the faces of people doing better than us. And the whole day tilts from there. There were men, not so long ago, who never owned a device that could ruin their morning before they stood up. They woke into silence, and silence is not empty. Silence is the body remembering it is safe. So the first act of protection costs you nothing. You keep the first minute. You lie there and let the chest rise slow. Let the breath find its own floor. And you tell the day what it will be before the day tells you. Not a wish, a decision felt in the ribs. That is your morning made into armor. Then there is the night. You know the night I mean. The clock glowing 2:47, the heater long since gone quiet, and the mind running its ledger in the dark. Most men over 40 have lain there. The body is tired, but the head won't stop. And the world told you to fix it with a pill, a glass, a screen. But leave with different lives. In your age, they've sold you a story that every year is a loss. But you have something no young man can buy. You've been late in the evening when the house goes quiet enough that you can hear your own pulse. That slow, steady drum behind the ribs, the one that's been keeping time since before you had words for any of this. Listen to it for a second. That sound was there the day you were born. It will be there at the end. And in between, it has been faithfully waiting for you to remember it. I want you to sit with something the billionaires already know but would never say out loud at one of their longevity conferences. The men paying $100,000 a year to chase what your grandfather had for free. They are not buying youth. They are buying their way back to a state they lost. A nervous system that isn't bracing. A heartbeat that isn't apologizing for taking up space. They are spending fortunes trying to reverse engineer the calm that a 94-year-old man carries into his garden every morning without a single supplement in his pocket. And here's the part worth sitting with. You are not behind them. You are ahead of them. You have something they're trying to purchase, and it has been sitting inside your chest this whole time, quiet under all the noise. The world spent a long time trying to convince you otherwise. It told you that at 45, 50, 60, the good chapters were closing, that the sharp years were behind you, that whatever this is, this attention, this awareness, this capacity to feel a room and know something's wrong before anyone speaks, was fading. It sold you that story relentlessly, on every screen, in every ad for something you didn't need, until you half believed you'd missed the window. But the window was never closed. It was just fogged over by a world built to keep you distracted, agitated, scrolling, comparing. Anything to keep you from going still long enough to hear that drum. Because a still person stops reaching for what they're told they're missing. And someone who has stopped reaching is no longer easy to sell to. That's the quiet truth running underneath everything we've talked about. The thing the lab in California is bottling, the thing the wealthy are injecting and tracking and biohacking their way toward. It's the same thing your body produces for free the moment you stop running from yourself. The slow breath, the settled heart, the image held in the mind long enough that the body starts believing it's already real and shifts to match it. Your grandfather called it patience. The scientists have their longer words for it. The way a calmed heart steadies the mind, the way the mind, given time, reshapes the body around it. The name doesn't matter. The capacity is yours, and it always was. So here's where I want to be honest with you. The way a man speaks to another man across a kitchen table when the coffee's gone cold and there's nothing left to perform. If anything in the last hour landed, if you felt your shoulders drop even an inch, if you caught yourself breathing slower than you have in months, then stay close. The world is loud, and tomorrow morning it will be loud again, and it will try once more to convince you that you're old, that you're late, that you missed it. You'll want a voice in your ear that remembers the truth on the mornings you forget it. That's all this is. A reminder, returning when you need it, to a man or woman the world tried to write off too soon. Because that's who listens this far, not the curious passerby, the one who's lived enough to recognize a true thing when he hears it, the one carrying a quiet suspicion, finally confirmed that the experts have been overcomplicating something he already half knew. You don't need $100,000. You don't need the clinic, the panel, the cold plunge flown in from Switzerland. You need to remember that the most expensive thing on earth right now, the calm, coherent, self-directing nervous system that the richest men alive are desperate to buy back, is the one you came equipped with. It dimmed. It didn't die. So stay with me a while longer. Let me keep walking beside you while you find your way back to it. Slowly, the way these things come back. And there's a way to begin, tonight before you sleep. It asks for nothing but your willingness to sit still and feel that drum again. Let me show you how. Let me take you back to where we started. That number, $100,000. It sat there on the screen like a price tag pinned to a human life. The cost they told us of buying back the years. The infusions. The cold chambers. The pills counted out in titanium cases. A man in a white coat promising to rewind the clock if only your bank account could keep pace with his ambition. And somewhere across town, a 94-year-old man you've never met is pouring his second cup of coffee in a kitchen that smells of toast and old wood. The radiator ticks. The window holds a gray morning. He isn't waiting for a delivery. He isn't checking his levels. He simply lifts the cup, feels the warmth spread through his palms, and smiles at something only he can see. He never paid the $100,000. He never had it. And yet here he is, outliving the brochures, outlasting the laboratories, the slow, steady proof that something got measured wrong. The industry counted the body and forgot the man living inside it. He spent his years tending the part no instrument reads, the attention, the patience, the quiet practice of staying. And that part, it turns out, keeps deepening long after the equipment is wheeled away. Because you came into this carrying a particular kind of dread. The headlines told you the world was getting sharper while you got softer. That your best years were behind a paywall you'd never cross. That somewhere, someone younger and richer was buying the thing you could only watch advertised. The unease of being left behind. That tightness that sits just under the breastbone and refuses to settle, even when the room is silent. But notice, something has eased. Not because I gave you a protocol. Not because you swallowed anything or wired yourself to anything cold. It eased because somewhere in these last minutes you remembered something your body never actually forgot. The slow breath that drops your shoulders. The picture you can hold behind your eyes until your chest believes it. The rhythm of a heart that steadies when you stop bracing against a world that profits from your panic. That steadiness is real. The old man carries it without naming it. The laboratories try to bottle it and fail because it was never for sale. The mind that pictures calm, the heart that finds its rhythm, the quiet attention that returns to what matters. These are not luxuries flown in from a clinic. They're the oldest equipment you own. You came installed with them. The world just talked you into believing they'd stopped working. They never stopped. You only stopped listening. And that's the part the $100,000 dream can never touch. Because it requires a thing they can't manufacture. It requires you, your attention, your willingness to sit with the warmth of the cup and let your nervous system remember that it is safe. To picture the version of your life that hasn't arrived yet, and to feel it as if it already breathes in the room with you. That feeling is not wishful thinking, it is practice. And a body that has learned steadiness lives differently than a body braced against fear. The old man knew this in his bones long before anyone wrote it down. He never called it neuroplasticity. He never called it coherence. He called it living right, keeping good company, holding a clear picture of tomorrow and walking toward it without flinching. He was rich in the one currency the market can't print. And so are you. You're not a beginner here. That's what gets missed about a man your age. You have decades of pattern behind your eyes. Every loss survived, every storm outlasted, every quiet morning you got up and did it again. That accumulated wisdom is not a weakness the young outpace. It is the very soil these tools take root in. The world didn't take your power. It only distracted you from it. And distraction can end the moment you decide it ends. So let the price tags climb. Let the clinics keep their cold rooms and their waiting lists. You found the door they couldn't lock, and it opened from the inside. The kitchen is quiet. The cup is warm. The morning is gray and yours. You walked in afraid the best of you was behind a wall of money. You're walking out knowing the best of you was never out there at all. It was here the whole time, in the breath and the patience and the plain decision to begin again. And that is something no one can sell you and no one can take.